Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Tom McManus is here with me, and I'm delighted to say former Wraith Rovers striker Ali Graham. We were going to mention all his clubs, but I just had a wee look here, and he's vying for the record, Tom. Because
I think he's probably more than me.
That's a lot of clubs, loan deals, in the country, out of the country. That's not, but still doesn't beat Chick Young's 23 hauls. Chick Charnley. Oh, don't even know Chick Young. Where did I get that from? Chick Charnley, 23
I can just
clubs.
come in there, Peter. I think I was maybe a saleable asset when I was young.
That's a very good point. Anyway, Ali, delighted to have you with us. We'll talk football with you shortly, as well as looking back at a wee bit of your career. And of course, what we say to you is thank you very much to the thousands and thousands of people who are subscribing to our YouTube channel and of course interacting with us, engaging with the fellow fans and putting a point across to our panellists. And before we start, before we even give you the quiz question, I have to say congratulations to Alan Ruff. MBE, he finally picked it up, Tam, and as you can see, look at him, he is absolutely proud as punch. Great little photograph on his own, and then of course with the family as well. There's the official hat from Maggie, the two lovely daughters and his son, and that is a fantastic photograph and a great honour for Ruffy, Tam.
Yeah, I was listening. Obviously it's been in the cards for a while to go and get it. With COVID and different things have been putting off, so listen, delighted for him to get that MBE today. He's obviously throughout Holyrood with his family, so a proud moment for him. And good to see he's got dressed for the occasion as well. Usually a tramp in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got the medal.
I was actually, Peter, quite surprised there because my eyesight's not too good, but I was looking at his kilt there, it kind of blended in with the brickwork at the back there, so I didn't think he had a kilt on at all.
No, it's very unusual. Actually, I very rarely see Ruffy in a kilt. I'm trying to think of the last time I've actually seen him in a kilt, but nevertheless, he's got the medal. It'll go nicely alongside his 50 cap medal from the SFA and his 1971 League Cup winners medal, Tom.
Yes, he's got that. He's still got that London lock and key, but nothing will come close to the Cubalers top for Peru.
No, absolutely.
You're waiting on him to crock it to try and get.
As long as he hands it over to me, I'll be delighted because I know his son won't want it. I'm the only one that places any value on it. Yeah, thank you very much to a lot of people who are saying congratulations to Ruffy for his MBE. Well worth it after all his services to football. Lots to talk about on the programme tonight. Of course, 4 games in the Scottish Premiership to discuss. We'll look at some of the news that's emerging today, transfers and all that. And also, barring, unless I don't know about it, hopefully the studio is free of any plants of musical or
I thought that was your phone there.
Noises. Did you think? I know. I don't think we'll have any noises other than you two in here. But these things, hey, that takes some planning, doesn't it?
It was brilliant. I can't believe they've got away with it. And to do it in the BBC live in the telly is amazing. And it's went viral.
Is it not the anniversary of the BBC as well, the day it happened? Was it not the big anniversary of their, when they started? Was that the breakfast show? Was that 70 years of the breakfast show? 75
years I think it is.
Okay,
yeah.
Right, so it's one of the funniest things I've seen, I must admit.
He handled it well, but especially if you don't know where it's been planted, there was so much work gone into it, but I'm sure there'll be an investigation. Anyway, none of that here. We're going to talk football. You can give us your view. We've got a good question today. I think it really will tax your mind. It was thrown up this morning in our office, so here it is. Here's the quiz question. Who was the manager the last time St Mirren had back-to-back wins over Celtic? That's an absolute belter. Who was the manager the last time St Mirren had back-to-back wins over Celtic? Can you name him? We'll give you the answer at the end of the programme. And as ever, every week, all the way through to the end of the season, we are going to endeavour to give you a chance to win yourself some good prizes. And this week, I think it's a special one for girls and boys who like to collect those football cards.
PLZ Soccer has teamed up with Match Attacks to give you the chance to win this fantastic box of all your favourite Scottish football stars. We're also throwing in a starter pack and 2 multi-packs to give your boy or girl the perfect start to their collection of all their favourite SPFL players. To win this fantastic prize, all you have to do is answer this simple question. Who is the current PFA Scotland Player of the Year? Post your answer in the comment section below, and to double your chances of winning, all you have to do is subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with the competition. So Premiership fixtures to look forward to. Ali and myself will be heading to Livingston to watch the game there against Dundee United. Here's the fixtures and how it all shapes up. Celtic against St Mirren, it's Hearts against Aberdeen, Livingston against Dundee United, and just a slightly later kick-off at Rugby Park, it's Kilmarnock against Rangers. So implications certainly at the top end of the table there with those games. So we'll get the guys' thoughts and the predictions on it as well. Good to have you with us, Ali, because I think the last time, in a footballing sense, I can remember standing at Ibrox when it was the penalty shootout. Raith Rovers defeat Celtic in the League Cup final of 1994. I know we've been in each other's companies long before that, but that's the one abiding moment that surely must stick out in your memory.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the two is, especially, I don't even know what age Tam was, but we were a lot younger, Peter, so... no, that was an incredible day for the club and for the town, really,
Yeah, it was absolutely magnificent. I mean, the funny thing is, if you to look back at the Raith Rovers side that you played in that day, there were some really good players coming through, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think the masterstroke during that kind of run in the League Cup was Jimmy Nicholl getting a hold of Davy Neary right enough, so one of our kind of heroes, especially after that goal against Brazil.
Yeah.
And obviously being a legend at Dundee United, so we were delighted to get him on board. But the young guys coming through at the time, Peter, you had Jason Dare, Stevie Crawford, and of course Mickey Cameron, so who I think went on to prove how really good a player he was.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, just on that point, it's just amazing how sometimes managers, and I thought Jimmy Nicholl was, first class as a manager, great man manager, and the camaraderie and spirit in that side was incredible, Tam. I mean, the buzz in that dressing room all the time, and the boys and the European things. I was a young reporter, and Jimmy it was great to me.
Yeah, we obviously know Jimmy well for the after dinner stuff, but I was only 13 actually, Ali. I remember that because I remember Celtic were 1-0 up in normal time. I think they scored kind of later, and my dad was getting ready to go to the pub with his brother-in-law, Celtic fans, and I think Raith equalised late to take it to extra time, and I think they still thought when Celtic went ahead that we're going to win, but obviously pegged back. But it's not often you get a team out with Celtic and Rangers beating them in a final. It rarely happens. So that was Raith Rovers. That was a night where it all came together for them. So those set of players, Ali, the rest of the guys, will never be forgotten. Because I don't see, no disrespect to Raith, I don't see them winning a major trophy anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think I think John Baird scored in
he did against Rangers. Easter Road
Challenge Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but it's certainly a major domestic honour like that. Scott Thompson, Stephen McInnesby, Julian Brodie, Dave Neary, as you mentioned, Sean Dennis, who was a particular favourite of mine, completely and utterly.
I played with him as well.
I played with him at Hibs.
Yeah, brilliant lad, great fun, brilliant man. David Sinclair, Stephen Crawford, Gordon Dalziel, Ali Graham, Colin Cameron, Jason Dare, and then you had another point here. You had Ian Redford on the bench. Ian Redford was a great player too.
Absolutely. I think big Ronnie Coyle just got injured as well, didn't he, before the final? So that would have maybe changed Jimmy's plans a wee bit if he was fit. I think Davy Kirkwood. He missed out. He missed out. And Danny Lennon, of course, I think he had a bad leg injury, so he missed the final. So you never know who would have come in and who would have been left out, but it worked on the day. So it was tremendous. And as you say, the whole club were together. That was what Jimmy's forte was. That was his main aim. We travelled through for Glasgow, as you know, and there was always a five-a-sides kind of against the kind of fifers, and Big Sean kind of won most of the battles right enough. But it was a great camaraderie. It really was, Peter. That's what Jimmy wanted, and it seemed to blend in at the right time. Don't forget, we got relegated the season before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were firm favourites to go back up in the first division, and we hadn't hit the ground running in the league. And then the cup came along and we started to kind of purr a wee bit and we got the victories. And Tam's probably been through the same thing. It's like when you get the first round, we went up to Ross County, we won 5-0. And then you just go on with the league campaign, and before you know it, the second round comes and you go, well, who have we got today? Kilmarnock. We beat them. And then you kind of move on, and then before you know it, you're kind of, you could be in the semi-finals here.
Hard to believe.
And that's how the cup works, as you know. So No, it was a great run and a great wee club.
And I was going to say to you, I can't remember who all the... I mean, I remember Paul McStay missing his, but did you take a penalty?
Oh, absolutely not, Peter.
Which is unusual for a striker. I mean, that's what they say.
I don't know what it was. I think don't forget, we went to Scott Thompson get sent off against Airdrie in the semi-final.
Yeah.
We're winning 1-0. Brian Potter came on, the young 17-year-old. That's the story. Yeah. And it went to penalties. So the first 5 guys stepped up and took the penalties, and I wasn't really a penalty taker. I know you're saying as a striker and things. It was Daz, he went off as well, so that was 2 hours out the road. So the young guys had no fear. Yeah. Crawford, Cameron's, Big Sean took a couple of penalties. They were right up there. And we just stuck with the same format for the final. Yeah. And when Paul went up to take his penalty kick, where I was looking down at Scott Thompson, you couldn't really see where the ball had bounced to him. And I thought, but our fans had a good angle.
They go ballistic.
And Tomo saved it, and I was like, oh, didn't need to take a penalty. Yeah. I was actually running about happy because I didn't need to do that instead of winning the trophy, Peter, you know, and that was a big thing for me. But no, it's just one of the things. If you get called upon to go and take the penalty kick, you put your foot through it. You know, some of these guys that are taking penalties now.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we're very much of the opinion it is a skill and an art, and and you practice them, you can be absolutely top drawer at them, as so many people have shown over the years. But nevertheless, it's one that lives long in the memory. We only allow League Cup winners to sit on that side there.
Like a Ruffy seat.
That's Ruffy seat. I don't know. I can't promise you an MBE, but still. Anyway, we've got the competition. Don't forget, you can put the answer in our feed. You can hit the subscribe button, and it doubles your chances of winning the prize. And we'll announce the winner on next Monday's show, when we've got an absolute howitzer of a giveaway next week on the programme. So, a special guest every week. We'll bring someone in. Great to have Ali. We'll talk more about his career a little later on. But it's Scottish Premiership fixtures. There was a 3 p.m. pitch inspection at Livingston Dundee United, but it's got the all clear so far. I don't want to say it's an all-weather pitch because David Martindale's not having that. He's just saying it's an AstroTurf pitch. And
if it's frosty, the game's going to be off, so it's not an all-weather pitch. So David Martindale went off his head the last time he said that.
Yeah. Okay, Celtic against St Mirren. And this one, the only team to have taken all 3 points off Celtic in the league this season. So Stephen Robinson certainly had a game plan, and when you look at the way they're playing at the moment, here is a man who is not happy with draws. I like his mentality with St Mirren.
Yeah, I think it's obviously going to be a different kettle of fish at Parkhead. I think it's St Mirren Park. You know, they could get after Celtic a little bit. Celtic made a lot of changes that day. You know, I don't want to take anything away from St Mirren, but I think Celtic weren't at full strength. I don't think the manager will ever do that again. I don't think he'll make as many changes as that. Celtic will be smart and still from that defeat, I think. But St Mirren went to Hearts last week and very unlucky not to get a point. You know, we've seen the penalty incident at the end. It was a stonewall penalty kick where they gave them an opportunity to get a draw at the game. But I just think Celtic are too strong at the minute. They've got too strong a squad. You know, they can go and take 4 or 5 out, rest them, and bring 4 or 5 quality players in. He's got such a big pool of players now, and he's got competition for places. And I'll tell you, if you've got competition for places, you've got to get in and play well, or else you're out the team. So I think Celtic have got that at the minute, and they just have too much for St Mirren at Celtic Park. Yeah, rather ominously, Ali. We're talking about strength and depth. Haksabanovic, McCarthy, Ralston, and Welsh. They're all back from injury, and remember, he hasn't even given a run out for Kobayashi yet, or Iwaka, the other signing.
As Tam said as well, when you go back to that last game, Peter, I think Aaron Moy got his real first start that game, didn't he? And he got a wee bit of flack, didn't he? And look how far he's came now because he's getting regular games. Yeah. I agree with Tam totally. I think Celtic are far too strong. But I think St Mirren are a good position. I think they've only played 20 games compared to the other teams. They're pushing for this, right into this top 6 place, and maybe even further. So he's a good manager. They're a decent side, especially at home. But at Celtic Park, I just think Celtic got too much for them. Yeah, it's interesting. You were talking about Jimmy Nicholl. I think Stephen Robinson has that same quality. He's got that ability to obviously know what he's doing in a coaching sense, but the man management, the individual thing. You only have to look at yesterday, the St Mirren TV, when they have this mock court to Charles Dunn and have a good bit of laugh with it. He likes getting that camaraderie going. I think he had that in Motherwell as well, didn't he? And the fans kind of, what would they give to have him back there again? The kind of the form that they've hit at the minute. Another one of my old teams there are struggling a wee bit. But no, I think that's great. I think you have to have camaraderie. It doesn't matter what level you're playing at. If you've got that, the boys will go the extra mile for each other, and it's as simple as that. It's a good thing to have, and they'll go and frustrate Celtic tonight. That's what they'll do. They'll go and frustrate them. And you always look at Celtic scoring one goal, they always need another. I always feel Celtic need another goal, and the longer St Mirren can hang on in there, they'll feel they've got a chance.
Yeah, a lot of people like to try and stir it up and talk of revenge, but Ange Postecoglou, the Celtic manager, is having none of that.
Your motivation should be every time you play to try and be at your best to beat whatever opponent's in front of you. If you need sort of revenge as a motivator, well, you know what, go and lose every second game and you'll be great. But that's not how it works, particularly here. We're very motivated because we're representing this football club. We're in a strong position in the league.
Yeah, and of course could get even stronger if they get one of their signing targets. There's no point in mentioning every day there's a new name or there's another Korean that they were talking to a couple of weeks ago that they might be interested in. And then of course the constant Giacomakis, is he going, is he staying? Even Juranovic could be in doubt, because one club that was interested in him has suddenly signed a right back.
Yeah, I think that Juranovic it's clear to Celtic, it's clear to every supporter that Celtic want to move him on for big money. I think they signed the lad Alistair Johnson. I think he's going to come in and play. Juranovic had a great World Cup. I think you've got to cash in on these guys when their value is high, and I don't think Juranovic's value will ever get higher after his performances for Croatia. So listen, it depends on what kind of move he's wanting, what kind of terms he's talking about with his agent, and what kind of fee Celtic will be getting. There's wild speculation of 10, 15, 20 million. I don't see that at all for Juranovic. I think if you can get 8 or 10 million from him, I think that's great business for Celtic to move him on. They signed him for 2 million, so I think that'd be a great profit in 18 months.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, ask Tam, is Nesbitt signing for Celtic?
I don't know. What I do know is he's playing out his skin at the minute. He looks a totally transformed player. I watched him a lot, obviously working with Hibs TV for 2 years. I didn't think he had a big move in him before he got injured. I didn't see it. I thought maybe Championship, England. Now he's came back, he's bulked himself up, he looks fitter, he looks stronger, he looks leaner. He's holding defenders off, all part of a striker's game that you need to do, and Kevin he wasn't good enough at that part of the game. But from what I've seen the last couple of games, he's improved every aspect of his game. So I think if he keeps the form up, it's 5 goals in 2 games. If he keeps that form up, scores a couple against Hearts, there's going to be big clubs going to be looking at him. Yeah,
I'm not so sure, and I'm not dissing him out completely on this, but I'm not so sure he's at the level that Ange Postecoglou is looking at when he's recruiting players, as well as the ones that he wants to try and make better players. He's recruiting players with the Champions League group stages in mind.
Absolutely, but I think Tam's right. I think Nisbet's come back in. It's a difficult position to play that. He's up there on his own most of the time, whereas before, when he was up on his own, the ball was bouncing off him, he couldn't hold it and he wasn't linking play. But you forget about the players, the wingers that are missing for Hibs as well. And we were speaking about this the other day there, if Hibs can get a bigger striker in to support him, he might even score more goals. So goals is what it's all about at this stage of the season, Peter.
And a strange thing, they might need somebody of your style, or it's a Mixu Pataline, and it's somebody who you can play off. It's a Craig Brewster.
Well, absolutely. I mean, much would they guys be worth now, you know what I mean? But no, I think he's really playing really out his skin at the minute, especially coming back for that injury, because that was a bad one. And as you say, he's bulked himself up, he's now mixing with guys, and he's getting on the end of crosses, and even the goal for the edge of the box the other night there, I mean, tremendous finishing. So who's to say he won't, because if you can get him for a bargain, don't forget, people kind of mock the Scottish game a wee bit when they're looking at the transfers with Juranovic and Giacomakis. Celtic fans will want this for them, but in realistic terms, the clubs that are coming in for them are not going to offer them that.
Yeah.
So we'll see where the Giacomakis thing goes with that one, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the other thing which we've mentioned on the previous few days is we're not privy to the type of terms that suddenly can be in a contract that actually got him to come here in the first place. Sometimes there are little caveats in there and clauses that suddenly say if he comes for this and then we move him on, he gets a certain percentage. Nobody really knows.
I think he's looking for a big payday, Giacomakis. I think he's looking for money. He's 28-year-old. Mm-hmm. He's probably looking at this is I need to get a big move here.
Yeah.
He's played with a small club in Holland, VV Venlo. He's played with smaller clubs in Greece. I think he's looking for big money, maybe a 4 or 5 year deal, and say, right, that's my big move, one big move. I don't think he's going to get that money at Celtic. I heard Ange Postecoglou speaking the other day about players demanding things, and he said that if players come in and demand, they'll just let them go, just away you go. I don't think he's one that's going to buckle under an agent or a player going in and saying, listen, I should be getting this. He'll just say, right, see you later. We'll go and get somebody else.
There is kind of mixed emotions between the supporters right enough, Peter, at the minute. So, a lot of them are wanting him to stay and just give him what he's asking for.
Yeah.
Because he is a goal scorer and he can't score goals. He must be frustrated at not playing every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it was like when you were a striker, well, especially my size and bulk. If you're not playing regular, you're always off the pace a wee bit.
Yeah.
And he needs to play.
Yeah, absolutely. But fair play to the lad. He's scored goals. Here's a great question from Hugh Scott, who says, Peter, who's the better player, Nisbet or Shankland?
Well, if you'd asked me this question before Kevin Nisbet got injured, there was only one answer for me, and it was Shankland.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've seen Kevin in the last few games. I can't believe the transformation of a player.
Well, his
coming
stats
back
don't
from
match
injured.
Shankland, do they?
Well, he's been out injured, so
Yeah.
Are they similar players to him?
Did his stats previously match Shankland's? Shankland early on, it didn't work out for him in Aberdeen, but as he moved on, he did have that pedigree of scoring goals.
Both of them had to drop down into the Championship in League One with Dunfermline. Shankland dropped down there, United with McCall, when they got him flying again and banging in goals, and they got him a move. But it's a difficult one for me. Pre-injury for Nisbet, I'd have said Shankland all day, but now I'm not so sure. I think Nisbet has come back and looks better.
Interesting.
Don't forget, the two of them have fought their way into the Scotland squad as well. So,
Give us your strikers analysis. Who are you going for?
At this moment in time, I still say Shankland.
Yeah.
I think and it's always easy to say it. Hearts are probably a better team at the minute, and he's obviously getting more chances, and he's got better players round about him. Hibs, as you know, Tam, need to go out and make a few signings, to try and get up to the level where Hearts are at, So at the minute for me, it's still Shankland.
Well, I have to say it'll be a great barometer of where they are when it gets to the derby in the Cup on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to it. Is it a game that you'll be going to, or are you just going to watch it?
I'm actually away. I'm up in Fife for a speaking thing, so I'll probably see the second half. But
okay, I'll text you.
You can text me the result. But listen,
hat trick.
I think Hearts going to its favourites. I don't think there's any doubt about that. We'll obviously speak about it more on Friday, but I think the form are in the squad depth. Hearts just look strong at the minute, and Hibs in certain areas look weak.
Yeah, okay. On to Kilmarnock against Rangers. Rangers obviously, can't afford any more slip-ups. They just want to keep plodding on and try and get the points and hope there's a slip-up across the city. And they go down to Kilmarnock after the disappointment for Derek McInnes' side in the Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic. Rangers, if anything, and this is a side that's going to change, I think, dramatically once Michael Beale starts to mould it the way he wants. But, they are digging in, that they've got resilience in abundance.
They've changed. He's changed them completely. Even some of the players, Kent's a new man. He's playing out his skin at the minute.
Yeah.
I think he's got a decent shape about them there, and he's getting guys to go that extra yard for him. But as you say, if he gets his own players in, 2 or 3 players, I think they'll be a different team. But they have to hope, and this is a time of the season, Peter, but when you look at the league table, every team's looking over their shoulder and looking at other teams to see if they've dropped points. Usually at the start of the season, a manager will say, let's just take care of our own business and try and get points on the board. But at this time of the season, I think you look over your shoulder and you're looking to see who's dropping points and who's winning games. And if you look at the fixture list, you're hoping that Livy go to maybe Celtic Park and get something, and Motherwell are relying on Ross County to get beat against Rangers at Ibrox. So that's all taking part now, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Michael Beale, like so many other managers, is looking to try and recruit someone who can bang the goals in.
We want to bring more goals into the club. It's, we've had injuries in the front line. We've obviously Antonio and Kamar not being fit since I've come back into the club. Rabbi Matondo's got an ongoing problem with his knee, so he's not been available the last few games. And Alfredo has a contract situation, so does Ryan Kent. So it's certainly an area I'm looking at, whether it's this window or the summer, to make sure that we're strong, because we need goal scorers in the building.
Yeah, absolutely. And what he doesn't need is people who are unlucky with injuries. I'm talking, of course, about Kemar Roof. And when you look at the players that have been missing, Cholak has picked up injuries. Matondo, he mentioned. Lawrence has had a setback. Roof, Davis, Suter, Yilmaz, Hadji. These are not just niggly injuries. Some of them are long term.
Yeah, they are, and he's right. I think they need a striker, Rangers. I think that Morelos is just completely off the boil. I mean, he's having to play him at the minute because he's got no one else. Let's be honest about it. You know, Cholak's been injured. Roof looks as if he's going to be out for a while as well. So there's nobody coming through to put pressure on Morelos' place, and he seems to be playing every week. So he's right. He needs to bring in more goals into that team. They're heavily reliant on Ryan Kent at the minute. He's playing well. He's playing really well. You know, but they're reliant on him. And they scraped a result against Aberdeen, and they've scraped a couple of results under Michael Beale. So they need to get some players back from injury as well. I think Lawrence was a big one. I think at the start of the season he looked the part. He scored a great goal against USG in the Champions League. So if you can get him back, it brings you more goals into the team, I think, as well. Yeah,
but when you look at the semi-final at the weekend, okay, the pitch wasn't the best, Ali, but they went a goal behind, and then they just kept plodding and you know, trying to batter down the door until they got their equaliser and then the eventual winner.
You could see it coming. The pressure was mounting all the time, Peter. But tonight's game against Kilmarnock's an interesting one. They've got to put that disappointment of their game out the road. It's a big game for them, you know, with Ross County sitting just below them. But Rangers as well, because of the extra time, the park, you know, satin at the legs, they've got to keep going against Celtic, keep going, hoping that they do slip. And some of the games are really interesting doing at Rugby Park. I quite enjoy it actually, although I don't like the surface.
Yeah,
I do think they're interesting.
I thought, no, we brought on an AstroTurf lover. But no, I get where you're coming from on that. But it's a Kilmarnock side still not out of the mire, still haven't get out of it, still have to battle. Maybe hope that Kyle Lafferty now can start to get that match sharpness back in his legs with another run out. Don't know for how long.
Yeah, well, obviously Big Kyle come back with a bang at the weekend there and got to sell an assist. So listen, I think that in terms of thinking of the goals, I think Kilmarnock have got to strengthen their squad. I mean, we spoke about Kilmarnock last season. It still looks as if it's the same team that just about got up against Arbroath in the second last game of the season. You know, won the league. They've not brought a lot of players in. They've not brought a lot of starters in. And I think that Derek, he's no daft. Listen, he's been in the game a long time. I think he's got to go out and sign 3 or 4 players that are going to come into your starting lineup. I like the wee boy Armstrong, Kilmarnock, he's a good player. They've got Deutsch who's come in and just not done anything at all. Lafferty, they're going to be relying on him. Vassell they've brought in. So I just don't think Kilmarnock have got enough goals in their team. And that's going to be a problem for them.
Do you not think that is the problem? You look down at the bottom half of the table. I mean, everybody's looking for a goal scorer at that level, aren't they?
Yep.
And they're all looking for somebody that can bang in the goals. Where do you go and get him, Peter? You can't go and sign a Premiership player.
Well, is he at the lower level? Is he in there? Is there anyone there that you've seen?
In the Championship?
You know, there's a couple of half decent players at Partick Thistle.
The boy at United maybe do somebody.
The centre
Adebayo, the centre forward. He's up there in the goal scoring charts, but I don't think off the top of my head I can think anybody else should maybe come into a Kilmarnock or a...
The Thistle players are all midfielders.
You notice that some of the players that were signing, a lot of players were going back to their parent clubs, and it was all guys that were on loan. It was you younger guys.
Yeah.
And you're wondering what kind of job are they going to do for, you know, to fight to try and stay in the Premier League. So, no, I think everybody's always looking for a goal scorer, and they're so difficult to come by.
Yeah, Derek McKinnon's also not too happy with the level of refereeing at the moment. It certainly says there's not enough good, strong referees that are experienced in our game, and he highlighted again that he called to get an explanation from the head of the referees on that decision. Giacomakis' barge that should have been a penalty as far as we were all concerned, but he just didn't get it. And on such moments in a game, Ali, if you don't get that key decision, sometimes the game can slip away from you. It could alter it if you do get it.
It did slip away from him because Celtic were up the park and Giacomakis scored the winner. How ironic, you know. So if they get that decision at the time, don't get me wrong, I still think Celtic go on and win the game if it goes to extra time, but it keeps them in the game, and you never know, something else could happen, the decision should go their way. But I just feel sometimes, Peter, you see that challenge in the box. We've seen that challenge before. We've seen tackles before, that given and not given. Surely the referees have to look at some sort of a video, they have to have meetings to look at these tackles, because they're the ones that are saying, I don't think it was a foul. But then somebody else will say it was a foul. Or it's a yellow card and it's a red card. That's the argument guys have in the pub. It shouldn't happen at refereeing decisions.
Yeah, but it's two referees. This is the problem. It's a VAR guy who thinks it's not something I want you to look at, and then it's the referee who just basically says, well, wait a minute, if it hasn't been highlighted and I'm not looking at it either, the fans are going absolutely berserk. I mean, what's your take on it so far, the VAR? Are you pro it?
I was, Tam will tell you, I was a big fan of it. I mean, I was one of these sad guys that used to go up and watch the Australian football and German League, Bundesliga 2, Serie B, where they were using VAR 5-6 years ago. I've never seen problems that we're seeing in the Scottish game at the minute. Everything took 25, 20 seconds and it was sorted. The players, there was no hassle. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't seeing the press conferences after it to see what the decisions, the managers maybe falling out with the refs, but it just happened so quickly, and I thought this is a great thing. This will sort out the pulling in the box, the handballs, which it hasn't. And every week, me and Tam, a couple of guys, we're even arguing about some of the decisions.
Yeah.
So if we're doing that, surely the referees must be saying, how did you think that was a penalty when I thought it was a penalty? And then you've got a guy down in England coming on who looks at the Scottish game and then he gives his opinions. Come on, so if the Scottish can't sort it out, we shouldn't be looking down there. I think we've made it a laughing stock, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, well, we manage that quite well on a regular basis in this country, Tam, so no surprise. I didn't think it was going to be smooth. But I certainly look at it, from time to time and automatically thought to myself, this isn't going to be smooth. Some managers are going to be peeved, but I knew there was going to be a hornet's nest opened up as soon as the Rangers and Celtic game kicked in.
That was it. It was relatively quiet. There was a few dissenting voices and whatever, but that Golson handball, it just exploded, and it was always going to happen if a big decision in an Old Firm game went against one of the teams. It was going to go mental with social media and everything. So I think that's highlighted, and I think that's highlighted how poor the refs are. I know I keep bashing them in the head, but the VAR come in has highlighted how bad they are. I mean, people thought, the referees are okay, but now you're looking at them and you're going, by the way, how can he see that's not a foul? Like the Giakoumakis one in the box, how can two referees look at that and say it's not a foul when I would say 98% of the population in Scotland thought it was a foul?
Yeah, the other the other point here, which a lot of managers and players are talking about is, and again, you're never going to get around it. If the referees are saying the players don't know the rules, the players and the managers are saying referees don't know football.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you follow me?
Absolutely. I mean, I think as well, like Tam's saying, I think there was a build-up towards the goals and thing. I think the Bernaby hand, it was looking the other way. I think the Riley, the one that Matt Riley get played up against his hand. I think there was a couple of things, and I know it was going against Celtic. He didn't really highlight the other teams.
Yeah.
And then the build-up just towards the goals and handball. So, and the thing that annoys me as well, Peter, is when you look at the highlights, or when you watch the highlights, they always say, I don't think the referee had a view. The referee's always got a view. And you always look and you see, the referee can see that. Why is he not giving the free kick or giving the red or the yellow card?
Yeah, I think it needs a real, a few choice words exchanged between everybody, and then of course an explanation, and try and get some kind of definitive line moving forward. Handball is another one that annoys the life out of everybody, but as Richard Foster pointed out, out with Celtic and Rangers, there are other clubs that are well worthy of their consideration as well on matters like this. So I had Kelly 1, Rangers 2, and I had Celtic to win quite emphatically, Tam, I think by 3 goals.
I think I went for 3-1 to both.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that both teams might score, might get a goal, but I think Celtic Rangers will be 3-1. 3-1
for you. What's your predictions?
I'll go 2-1 Rangers and I'll go 3-0 Celtic.
Okay, Hearts Aberdeen. This has got the makings of a right good one, because this is the battle of who really is the third force, Tam. For me, it's Hearts, and I also think because of matters off the park, I think Hearts just look like a club so well run, and been able, the recruitment has been really good as well.
Yeah, it hurts to say that they're so much better run than Hibs. They're rivals across the city. It's night and day in terms of the way they run, the recruitment. The foundation of Hearts, they're putting in some amount of money every month, all the supporters. So Hearts are really a club on the up. They are signing quality players. They're not signing project players on the whole. They're signing guys, Sir Shanklin, Snodgrass, guys like that who are proven players. Whereas Hibs are going down the route of signing maybe boys at 19, 20 and seeing if they're going to be a player. But I think that Joe Savage has went in there and done a great job. And that is the key. That's the key difference between Hearts and Hibs, is the recruitment, and they've got a guy, Joe Savage, who knows what he's doing, and Hibs unfortunately don't.
Yeah.
Do Hibs have somebody like him, Joe, at their club. They
don't. That's
get players
they're going to try and get obviously they're looking for a director of football at the minute, and
I see Paul Lambert's name is in the running.
Paul Lambert's been linked with it. They need to get somebody who knows Scottish football, who knows recruitment, who can pick up the phone to anybody, anywhere, and get a player.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the recruitment guy at the minute, Ian Gordon, can do that. He's not got the contacts to go and do that. He's somebody with contacts. That's important in recruitment.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, if you do quickly get somebody, you want to get them in. You want to get them signed before anybody else, because it looks like it's ruthlessly cutthroat at the moment. As soon as you sniff somebody. Yeah,
as soon as it goes into the press, as soon as somebody hears about it, social media now, Peter, these guys are all on it. It must be great to be a professional football player now compared to when we played, because it was a phone call.
Yeah, but they're not that far away, Ali, with regards to... I think their biggest problem, Hibs' biggest problem for me, is the back line. I think the whole back line needs to be addressed, because they're giving away goals, and no disrespect to Hanlon or Stevenson, they have put themselves out and etched themselves in Hibernian's history. Yeah. But I think they need a centre pairing at the back line of note, and I like Cadden. Sometimes he pushes them further forward, but I think they need to look at their back four or their back five and start building from there.
Is it them and Dundee United that have lost the same amount of goals? I think 37, 38 or whatever, so that tells a story, doesn't it? So, no, I agree with you, but they have to find a style of play as well. Stevenson's a kind of a great left back, but going forward, why can't they just get a flat back four at the minute, Tam? Stop losing goals and try and build for there, or get somebody to sit in front. There must be somebody who can sit in front of the back two and stop losing goals, and then take their chances for set pieces or corners.
Yeah, I think when you look at Hibs, I like Porteous. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be there. I think it'll be his last game at the weekend. I think they'll keep him for Hearts. I don't think there's no chance they'll sell him before that game. And then I think he'll be on his way. You've got Bashiri, who, when he's beside Porteous, I think he looks quite good. I think he looks no bad, but when Porteous is not beside Bashiri, he's a nightmare. So I think they've got to strengthen every department, Hibs. Honestly, they've got to strengthen every department. They've got a guy who's basically kept the manager on the job the last two games, Kevin Nisbet. 5 goals in 2 games, 3-2 and 2 each. So you're right, they're scoring goals, but one guy's scoring goals, and they're conceded 4 in 2 games. So I think Hearts will exploit that. Hearts have got a lot of quality in the forward areas.
Yeah, and in contrast to Hibs, when they are recruiting, not only are they bringing in, okay, it's a loan deal for Kuol, but I love Snodgrass. I just think, he makes it simple. He's got so much experience, a great technical ability. Was he ever fast? He just knows how to pick a pass, short ones and long ones.
I mean, even Edinburgh, surely the two clubs could attract decent players to come up to Edinburgh. You would think they would be able to attract, some decent guys that are scoring goals down the Championship, even League One. But no, Snodgrass as well. I think his experience, he's calming the ball, he can receive it anywhere in the park, and his left foot's pretty lethal for corners and free kicks, so that's a good signing. Yeah. Plus as well, he's probably looked forward to come up to play in the city as well, the capital city as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays in the game against Hibs.
Here's a question for you. If they're talking about Nisbet in this, in this potential move, could he go to Celtic? Could Shanklin go to Rangers? I mean, that's all the pub talk and the speculation as well. Could he get another move, another level? Is he good enough for Rangers?
I think once you get into the Scotland squad, you've got every chance. I think once you get into the international scene, that's your opportunity to move to a bigger level. Now, whether he's going to be a starter every week, players these days don't want to be on the periphery. They want to start every single game. And I suppose at the end of the season, Peter, you're not telling me that Nisbet and Shanklin couldn't score 15 to 20 goals for Rangers or Celtic. Yeah. They're going to get more chances, surely.
Yeah. Well, this game's the battle of Shanklin and, of course, the other impressive player, Miovski.
Yeah, it is. Listen, I think he's been a terrific signing for Aberdeen. I thought he took his goal tremendously against Rangers. That's a hard one to take, coming across on his weaker foot, just guided it past the goalkeeper, easy to smash at that. So he's got a bit of composure in front of goal. I was really impressed with Aberdeen. I thought they played well against Rangers.
Yeah. I see the manager's come out and just kiboshed your suggestion, so it's not going to be Graham Shinney as the captain. He's sticking with Anthony Stewart.
Well, he can stick with Anthony Stewart, but if he keeps playing and he keeps getting sent off in big games, then he's the one that's going to pay the price for his job. So no, I think that Aberdeen will go down to Hearts and give them a go, but I just think Hearts are strong at the minute. I think they're good at home. Yeah. Tynecastle, Ali's played at Tynecastle as well. it's a very, very difficult place to get a result when the fans are in full voice and right on top of you.
Are you surprised Ramirez has gone back to America?
No, I'm surprised he's hung about for so long, to be
He looked
honest.
interested when he came on. I didn't think he looked interested.
Well, he's obviously had his move line. He flew
Didn't want to get injured.
He flew the next day to Columbus. So he'd obviously come on and thought, right, let's not get an injury here. But he done. But Stephen Glass signed him, obviously, and he was Aberdeen's top scorer. I think he'd done well for Aberdeen. But once they signed Miofsky, they were never going to play the two of them as a pair. That's not the way that Goodwin wants to shape up. So I was surprised he hung about in Aberdeen for so long. But he'll go back to MLS and probably do well there.
I've got Hearts to win 2-1.
2-1 for me as well, Hearts.
I'm going to go one each.
One each, okay. Livingston against Dundee United. Ali and I are going to the Tony Macaroni.
That past the expectation.
I looked outside and I thought it's Long John's weather, so that is it in a nutshell. But the one good thing about it, you know, I think over the course of this season, nobody can turn around and say that Livingston haven't played good football. They've got good footballers. There's no way anybody can turn around and say, oh, they're just a physical or a set piece team or a long ball team, because they've proved they can mix the whole game up.
Yeah, they have, and I've, you know, I'll tell you, I like Martindale. I think he's a good manager, and some of your pals think he's never going to move on to a bigger club. I disagree entirely. I think if he can get Livingston in the top 3 or 4 in Scottish football with their budget, they've got nothing. Yeah. They've got an AstroTurf park, they've got a pitch beside them that's AstroTurf. Yeah. They've not got a pot to the proverbial.
Yep.
And he's punching way above his weight. So I think that he's a better manager, and they've got better players than people would give them credit for. They're always outsiders. Away at St Johnstone, they were outsiders. Ross County, they're outsiders. Nobody rates them, but they always come up with results.
Well, one of our viewers emailed me and says, why do you always mention David Martindale's backstory? In a way, for me, I'm trying to highlight the fact that I can't believe some other clubs are not looking at him as a manager that could take them on to another level. I give you Hibernian, but the problem is you're looking for reasons. You're trying to get reasons. It's the same thing that we looked at with Malky Mackay and his backstory, Ali. You look and you say to yourself, he's a top manager. We all make mistakes in life. We all, deserve second, sometimes third, fourth chances.
It wasn't that long ago that he'd got other guys in to help him and he was still going through his badges. And people are still waiting, believe it or not, Peter. People are still waiting in the bubble to burst here. The bubble's not bursting. They're getting results every week.
Yeah.
And they're there in merit. They're sitting up in that league in merit, and they can go to Celtic Park, they can go to Ibrox and get results. At their own place, they can get results against the Old Firm. There's no any other teams that can do that.
Yeah.
So he must have something. The only thing, going back to Tam, thinking he can maybe go, he's punching above his weight or whatever, it's whether he wants to do it or not. It's whether he wants that responsibility of moving in our club, because he runs the show, as you know, at Livingston, and he's got everybody behind him, and it's a good club. I bet the camaraderie there's fantastic as well, and they've got some decent players. So I'm not surprised at all. And by the way, as I said, people are still waiting in the bubble busting. It's no busting.
Yeah, and I think in the top flight, you know what it's like, Tam, once you start to get to the squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, of, we could potentially get relegated here. Other clubs might look and think, time for a change of manager.
Yep, Dundee United obviously have picked up. That was the one we were thinking about, Dundee United, William Fox, but they seem to have picked up some decent results recently.
Yeah, but it hasn't got them away from the
No,
problems.
they haven't. And there's a lot of experienced managers down there. Malky Mackay at Ross County, Derek at Kilmarnock. And Liam Fox is up against a relative rookie.
Can I ask you a
terms.
question then? If you were to say David Martindale, the clubs were coming looking for him, who would you say were bigger clubs than Livingston in the Premier League? Probably them all.
Yep.
Down to support.
Yeah, absolutely.
History. So, I mean, what does he do? Does he take a club that are sitting away doing second, third, bottom in the league? Do you think he can push higher and go higher than himself? It's a big decision for him.
I think it's going to be up to David Martindale. Ultimately, I think Ali's right.
Yeah.
He runs a full show. He's got, and you've got directors of football come into football now. You've got all these people who want a piece of it in recruitment.
And he's going to inherit that or not.
He does everything at Livingston, so he might be happy there. But there's got to be a ceiling. There's got to be a ceiling at Livingston. How if he finishes fourth this season, where does he go for there?
There are 3 or 4 clubs in this division that will look on and think he's got to be on a hot list if they were to change their manager. I'm not at this moment suggesting that anybody is close to the sack, but they will start to look at them. Motherwell, Dundee United, certainly Hibernian. 4th one and an outside St Johnstone.
Do you think any English clubs would look at him?
Well, I'm almost certain, I think a League One club would probably have a look at him as well, But listen, we're not trying to get him out. I like him. I hope he stays. But Livingston against Dundee United, I've got Livingston to win 2-1.
I think I've went for the same. I think I went for 2-1 to Livingston, or 2-0 to Livingston. I think Livingston at home, or freezing night at Park. I think they'll get a result.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go 1 each.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw.
My Ali's went for 5 draws tonight.
If he does get the 5 draws, he won't be back with us. That's for certain. But let's see how that all pans out. What about St Johnstone? Well, as desperately trying to end this poor run they're on, they're getting pelters from their fans for this decision to offer Rangers 3 stands for the cup game coming up. And the St Johnstone chairman has broken his silence on this whole situation. I think maybe conceding some ground to the Saints fans, who are well and truly miffed with it. They were angered at the £30 ticket price, and of course that decision to give the Rangers fans 3 stands, which will again have a major influence on obviously the atmosphere. It's going to be predominantly everyone cheering for Rangers. Here's the statement that came out. The seating arrangements and pricing for the Scottish Cup tie against Rangers has been met with a huge amount of negativity and hostility from a number of our valued fans. The decisions made were taken with the best interests of the club at heart. However, we totally understand the frustration our supporters feel and their level of disappointment. On reflection, the club accepts certain criticisms levelled against the decisions. We accept that they have merit, and going forward, the club will take that into account. Our supporters can be absolutely assured of this, whilst we hope to see as many of our supporters as possible inside McDermott Park on Saturday. We respect our fans who choose not to attend on this occasion. And quite simply, I think they're looking at the lowest turnout. I think they're talking about maybe 200 St Johnstone fans there.
Yeah, it's going to be embarrassing for St Johnstone. You know, it's a game that's live on the TV as well, and you're going to see an actual away game in Scottish football with 3 stands worth of away fans and 200 home fans. It's never been seen in Scottish football. So, listen, I think that there's a fine balance with this in terms of clubs need to make money.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to. It's been difficult times with COVID over the last 18 months, 2 years. They've got a chance to make money, and I think they've went too far with the 3 stands. You know, maybe 2 stands. You know, and give St Johnstone the 2 stands, but I think 3 stands and £30 a ticket as well. I think it's ripping it a wee bit out of the supporters as well, loyal St Johnstone fans. So I think there's a balance between making money and keeping your own supporters happy, and they've went too far into taking the cash in this occasion.
Yeah, over and above that, you've got 1 win in 8 games. 5 consecutive defeats. It's not going well for the manager after it looked as if he'd steadied the ship and got people scoring goals for him, Ali.
6 unbeaten before the break.
Yeah, absolutely. Before that
and
World
5
Cup,
straight defeats.
It's all flipped on its head. But the other unfortunate thing about it is that maybe St Johnstone, the biggest mistake was not taking a leaf out of St Mirren's book, which is quite simply looking and saying, okay, the stands are there. We want to make that financial commitment to you as well. You make it to us. Get out there in great numbers. We'll make the ticket maybe £20. Mm-hmm. Come out and fill those 2 stands.
Really disappointed, because when they started off really badly, didn't they? And then they come on with a good run, and they were getting a crew in. There was a wee crew and a good atmosphere at the park. You know, the young kids had turned out, and they were all. I remember watching a couple of games there, and there was a bit of atmosphere. Are they going to be getting the main stand? And as the cameras look out, you know, the Rangers fans are going to hit the other 3 stands. I mean, that just looks like a game at Mini Ibrox.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not going to work. And you're right, reduce the prices. Yeah. Get the fans behind you. It could actually turn. You know, they could go on another run for this if they get a result. So I don't understand it at all. I just think, you know, I know Tam's right. Clubs have got to earn money, Peter, but come on, it's a football game. Yeah. You've got to look after your own supporters before you look after anybody else. Yeah,
I think they realise and acknowledge their mistake. Anyway, you know, they're going to have to get their act together. We sent our reporter Kerry out there to McDermott Park to hear the thoughts of Callum Davidson.
Here at the Ravenscraig Sports Facility this afternoon, St Johnstone boss Callum Davidson has been looking ahead to his side's game on Saturday night against Rangers in the Scottish Cup. This week the club made the decision to sell 3 out of 4 stands of the stadium to away support, something that left Saints fans very unhappy. Here's what the Perth side boss had to say about the situation.
A little bit of anger, a little bit of frustration. You know, I sat down with the chairman Monday for a good couple of hours with a chat about football side. You know, we had a chat about off the pitch things, you know, and I think, you know, speaking to him, he's pretty obviously flat about the whole thing. You know, it's something he didn't want to do. You know, obviously create this kind of little bit of anger and, you know, frustration. He's pretty flat about it. You know, so I understand the supporters. You know, I played at McDermott. Obviously assistant manager, and their backing they gave us, especially last season, was fantastic, and it's something we don't want to create a divide. Hindsight, maybe done things differently, but for me, the biggest thing is now is I know people are saying about boycotting the game, and for me as a manager, probably if you're swithering about coming, I'd love you to come support the team. It's a big game for us. It's a huge game for us in the season.
Well into it,
Yeah, he's. You can tell, right? If the chairman's flat about it, the manager's fairly flat as well.
I mean, what chance has he got? How do the players react to that? As you say, walking out that tunnel and all you can see is Rangers supporters.
Yeah, he did actually. I mean, they were actually training down at Ravens, Craig, which caught me on the hop there. But
a long way from Perth.
I was just about to say, I wonder if they're paying for them all to stay down there as well. But
I don't think they want to go out in Perth. I don't think they want to train at the stadium. Supporters are not happy, but as a player, if you're walking out in a home game and you walk out and all you can see is away supporters and 3 stands, that's not great for St Johnstone's players.
No, absolutely. They need to somehow lift the players to get some kind of momentum. Okay, it's a free hit against Rangers at the weekend, Ali, but you just begin to wonder now, the key games, the last thing he wants to get sucked into that relegation. I had them relegated at the start of the season anyway. Yeah. That was my choice, and then I thought
after 6 games you thought I'm right.
Hey, well,
the first 6 or 7 games you thought I'm right here.
I was just about to say, but Ruffy had Kilmarnock. I don't think anybody picked. Did anybody pick Dundee United?
Nope. I think that's St Johnstone as well, Peter. But they signed Nicky Clark, and that gave them a real boost round about.
You probably didn't mention Ross County either, because you're thinking they're going to take points up at Dingwall, and make that a kind of fortress up there.
Yeah.
So, no, I think you're right, Peter. I think they have to try and get back into a run, and a positive result against Rangers would maybe push them on to a positive run in the league. So, a strange decision for me, really strange.
Yeah.
And as you're right, the manager looks pretty depressed there when he was speaking about it.
Well, absolutely. We'll give you the quiz answer very shortly, and also we'll give you another chance to see what competition we're running this week as well. Football at times, certainly in our country here, it's not awash with money. It is awash with money elsewhere, because I noticed that a Saudi businessman has paid £2.1 million to see Ronaldo play against Messi in PSG in this friendly game. I mean, honestly, they'll make money because there's bound to be TV companies saying, listen, we want to buy this, we want to sell it out there, because the paying public will be desperate to see it out with obviously the fans who are going to go to it.
Listen, the money over there is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, you look at the contract that Ronaldo signed, how much money do you want? He's probably got 500 million sitting in the bank, and he signs for more money, whereas other players might have been back to their former club, Maritimo, who he obviously grew up supporting and played with him. But they've just got so much money, and money talks, and that's 2 point. How much are they two getting paid to play in it as well? They're probably getting a few quid for playing in the game as well, so it's just crazy money.
How much money do you need, Tom?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, how much money do you need? I can remember negotiating some contracts earlier on in my career, Peter, when you didn't have an agent.
Yeah.
And it was an extra.
I tried to get you the best I possibly could. Jimmy Nicol just threw me out.
It was an extra 25 quid, we were talking about then, no, 25 million. So, change days.
Well, can I tell you just a little bit of news coming in before we finish? Referees are to announce reason for VAR decisions to the stadium and TV audience via a microphone at the FIFA Club World Cup following IFAB approval.
You meant here?
No.
That's a long way away, I think.
No, but by the way, it's not too far away. Again, I think a lot of people, this story just coming out, is what we've been talking about and what we've been advocating, Tam.
We've been speaking about this for weeks. Ali's obviously watches Australian football, and they do it in the rugby, the time out. You know what's happening. You can hear them speaking to the VAR department. It comes up on the screen. Supporters at the game know what's happening, and people watching the TV know what's happening. And it can only be good for the game. Referees explaining decisions. Right, this is a yellow card. This is why it's a red card. Whatever. And people are in. People can. There's no conspiracy theories that go on in social media about all the haters and this and that. I think that will eventually be a massive thing for VAR.
Yeah, I think that is what we're all crying for, because we think, I think that the more you do it and the more you explain it, I think the paying public in Scottish football and elsewhere across football deserves it, because it happens in rugby and there's no hassle with it.
No, it's a different kettle of fish in rugby, right enough. They respect the referee, don't they?
Yeah, we don't swear at them.
Yeah. Absolutely. But just going back, finally, Peter, on the VAR point, referees can see a decision and they think it's not a foul. You mentioned earlier on about, it's not our fault if the players don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Well, what's the rule when the ball hits a guy's hand in the box? Because if one referee gives it, 3 weeks later, a different referee doesn't give the same handball. So there has to be a rule that so they all come together and make the right decisions.
I think the handball really needs to be...
That's the rule. I feel sorry for the referees with that, because it is a rule.
Yeah.
It's interpretation, body positions, unnatural positions. There's a lot of grey areas in it.
I don't know how you tighten it up though, because if you turn around and say,
if it hits your
okay,
hand, it's a penalty.
well, of course, because what happens if somebody just blasts it from about 3 yards out?
It's a penalty.
All of a sudden you've got a guy who stays behind after training, and he's not practicing free kicks. He's practicing blasting it against somebody's arm.
Yeah, but we want more goals. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. But with more goals and penalty decisions comes more controversy. But listen, Ronnie Chapman says, Peter, get rid of VAR and use the money to help the referees. There's so many people have got an opinion on it, but that's just come out. It's just news that's just come out there. And if that's for the Club World Cup, you can bet your bottom dollar it's on the way for certainly the big 5 countries who have the major leagues. And I think slowly but surely that will come into play here in Scotland as well, because you just have to conform and fall into line. Great to have Ali Graham with us here. Thanks to so many people who have, basically come up with who is the guy on the left-hand side.
Thank you very much.
They've come up with all sorts of things. I think I saw Ali McBeal in there as well. They're all there. But he's got a League Cup winners medal in his tail. I can't promise him an MBE. Only people with an MBE, in 3 World Cups. You needed to get to 3 World Cups, Ali.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which would have been great to have that seat permanently, Tam.
He's a bit better banter on at least he's got an opinion, by the way. Big Ruffy's just sits on the fence every week.
We watched Ruffy in the 3 World Cups, Peter. We watched them.
Absolutely, you kidding me? I'm so pleased that he went to the 3 World Cups, because that Kubia shirt's going to look fantastic up there next to Ronaldinho's. Anyway, what about the quiz? We offered you this question at the start. Do you want to have a wee go at it, Tam? Who was the manager the last time St Mirren had back-to-back wins over Celtic?
I'll go for Alex Ferguson.
Yeah,
I'll go for Ricky McFarlane.
There's a name from the past. It was indeed Sir Alex Ferguson. Back-to-back wins. I think we're going as far back as 1978. And thanks to Hoggy, who says there's only one Ali Graham. There you are. And
cheers, Hoggy.
That's what I think everybody... Hoggy, who lives next door to Ali, gives him a run to the pub if he doesn't want to drive. Anyway, so there's your answer to that. What about the quiz? Match attacks as well. We've got the competition for you. One last chance today. We'll announce the winner next Monday, so all this week you've got a chance to make your son or daughter very, very happy with this fantastic starter pack.
PLZ Soccer has teamed up with Match Attacks to give you the chance to win this fantastic box of all your favourite Scottish football stars. We're also throwing in a starter pack and 2 multi-packs to give your boy or girl the perfect start to their collection of all their favourite SPFL players. To win this fantastic prize, all you have to do is answer this simple question. Who is the current PFA Scotland Player of the Year? Post your answer in the comment section below, and to double your chances of winning, all you have to do is subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. I think it's a fantastic prize. I don't know about you, Ali, but I used to collect them when I was a kid. Did you?
Was that the
chewing gum cards?
Panini and stuff.
The Panini stuff. I don't think, I'm trying to think if I was ever on one. I don't think I missed out on a couple with the Clyde Bank.
Oh no, you were there.
Was I there?
You were on a
I never ever.
Peter's got every album.
Every album that was going.
Never ever seen it.
I'm sorry for being a football.
Never ever seen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely do, but there's some crackers in there. Davy Moyes is a cracker. I think Davy Neary was a cracker as well. The old photographs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a plug.
Well, I wouldn't want to say that to him. He'll be on the show soon. You can say it to his face. But Match Attacks is great. It's all these glossy cards, the box, the starter pack, the whole thing, the album, and a chance to really get your whole collection going. It's great if you collect them. It depends what age you are. It might be for your son or daughter. It's certainly well worthy of getting into the competition. And we've got a fantastic prize next week that I think quite a lot of people will want to jump in on. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button. From Ali, from Tam, and from myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.